Robert Redford and Deborah Winger are attorneys out to solve a murder case.
Right. Our next film is called Legal Eagles, and it stars two of the most popular actors around today, Robert Redford and Deborah Winger, who wind up being co-counsels in the defense of a beautiful, mysterious young woman played by Daryl Hannah from Splash, who has been accused of crimes ranging from theft to murder as part of her effort to get back a painting created by her late father. Naturally, Robert Redford, a divorced parent, is mesmerized by this young woman who worms her way into his apartment.
Personal question?
Huh?
What do you think of me?
Interesting.
The other night when I kissed you, what'd you think of that?
Dangerous.
It's a carefully chosen word.
Well, carefully chosen words are the tools of my profession.
But you know that Redford's heart has to belong to Deborah Winger at some point in the film, and when these two are together, even squabbling, Legal Eagles is at its best.
See you tomorrow.
Are you going to sleep with our client again?
What? What's that got to do with the trial?
It has everything to do with our working relationship. She's a very attractive young girl.
Extremely attractive.
I didn't say extremely. I said just attractive.
Extremely.
She has a nice body.
Oh, sensational body.
I'll pick the adjectives. A good body. Big eyes.
Big, hypnotic.
Big eyes.
Unforgettable.
Logan, are you going to sleep with her again or not?
Eventually, it's time for the trial, where Redford takes the unusual step of telling the jury that even he thinks it's likely that his client is guilty.
Who thinks Chelsea Dearden is guilty? Objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Logan?
Come on, here, don't hold back. I got my hand raised. Look here. I believe that my client murdered Victor Taft in cold blood. Isn't everybody convinced?
Mr. Logan?
Come on, don't hold back. I got my hand up. I object.
Mr. Logan?
You're convinced, aren't you? Your Honor. Look, prosecution says she's guilty. Everybody in the jury says she's guilty. Let's save the state of New York a lot of time and money and move directly to sentencing.
Supposed to have a fair.
What?
Isn't she entitled to a fair trial?
Oh, let's give her a fair trial and then convict her.
Now, that's a nicely written scene because he's got something cooking and we're trying to figure out what it is, as is the jury. And as I said before, when Winger, who is by far the best thing in this movie, she is an extraordinary actress, when she and Redford are together relating, Legal Eagles works just fine. But there's a very, very big problem with this picture that overrides their relationship, and that is simply that the case that they have to solve together is utterly boring and utterly complicated and silly in its violence. Throw that story out. You really don't need the Daryl Hannah character in this story if you think about it. Just have Winger, the lawyer, defend Redford, the client. Then you'd have a movie worth recommending. As it plays now, much too complicated, a waste of two wonderful performances.
The movie is way too top-heavy. It was directed by Ivan Reitman, the same man who made Ghostbusters,
Right.
and I think he's still hanging on to some of his Ghostbusters success. There's not one, there's not two, but there are three fires in this movie.
Yes.
One of them, the guy wants to destroy some books, some records, and to do that he's going to blow up an entire warehouse with his entire stock of his entire art gallery. That doesn't make sense. Another time, Daryl Hannah is arrested and charged with murder. She is found by the police in Robert Redford's bed. Now, at that point, I don't think Redford would have been qualified to be her defense attorney. Jury might have been a little bit distracted. Apart from that, you're absolutely right. Deborah Winger and Robert Redford have terrific chemistry in this movie. Deborah Winger, at this point in her career, can do no wrong. Robert Redford does better. I liked him better here than I have in a long time.
He is as loose as a goose in some of these scenes, and maybe you have to credit Reitman for that, who deals with Bill Murray a lot of time in his comedies, because he also did Meatball and Stripes. So give him credit for that. Redford, I hope he is encouraged to go back to romantic comedy like he does here. Did it in Barefoot in the Park 2 decades ago. Butch Cassidy was sort of a male romantic comedy.
The Sting was even a comedy. I think Redford, I like Redford better in comedy than when he plays Noble. I don't like, you know.
It gets too stiff.
Right. But as far as the movie is concerned, you're right. It's an overloaded, confused, too violent mess.
You got it. Agreed on Legal Eagles. Two reluctant downturned thumbs because we both admire Deborah Winger and Robert Redford. But what a ridiculous story that wastes both of their talents.